going on today, guys? Welcome back. We are back in the shop working on the 05, trying to utilize the weekend's time to try and get a bunch done. So normally how it goes is we have double the time and we get half as much done as we do in the 4 hours after work that we normally have. But it seems to be going that way thus far. We ran into a couple issues, but we have gotten a couple things done. You did see that we got the torque converter bolts done. Those are in, and they are I believe the torque spec is 35 foot-pounds, definitely red Loctite. So we got red Loctite, the bell housing bolts are in. We actually got the other transfer case nuts in. We got those put in. Those are all tight. I do believe what we're actually going to bump to now is the powder coat stuff. Well, at least half of it I think is done. So we're gonna go run and get that half. I think he's got the rocker box cover, the transmission pan, so we can put that on. We started running the fuel feed and return lines, and when I was down there, that is when we ran into our first issue, which has been eating up quite a bit of time. As you can see, the starter is now out of the truck. So before, just to give you a little brief synopsis, 5.9 engine adapter plate, 48 RE, 5.9 flex plate that was in there. Before, we were running a 5.9 crank in our 6.7 block. Now we are running a 6.7 block with a 6.7 crank true 6.7 engine. So what I saw was when I was underneath there fiddling around with the fuel lines, I noticed that even though we had tightened the starter out of the engine, there's a gap underneath it. It's not sitting flush for some reason, so I think we might actually need to get a 6.7 starter. I'm not entirely sure, but the starter, for whatever reason, I have a spare 5.9 engine adapter, and I put it in there, and there's no problem. But for some reason, I'm not sure if the, honestly, I don't know. I need to go look at a 6.7 starter and see what might be having an issue. If you guys have any suggestions, I'm open to listening to them. So I'm just not sure if the crank difference, the only thing that has changed from last year, like I said, we have a 6.7 block. Last year we did a 6.7 block. I used the same engine adapter. We used the same flex plate. The only thing that's different now is the crank. We had a 5.9 crank last year. This is a 6.7 crank this year. So I'm not sure if the spacing is just slightly different, and maybe there's a difference in the starter that is causing the fact that it won't sit flush against that engine adapter plate. So hopefully that was long-winded but made sense. I was going to put the front drive shaft in, but seeing that we have to take the starter in and out, it's much easier to do with the drive shaft out. So that is where we're starting. We got the little cover over the transmission. That took all of about 5 seconds, but you can kind of see it's a lot easier without the drive shaft in there. But we're getting the feed and return lines here situated, and then we're probably going to bounce to getting the lines for the transmission run all the way to the back. We have already been to Lowe's and Home Depot once today to grab some steel to bend up to mount our transmission cooler, so we might even just try and bounce to that to try and run the lines and get those done. So we're gonna have to run back there. We're actually missing some, I believe they're called P-clamps. They have little rubber isolators around. I'm utilizing a stud underneath here. Maybe I'll try and show you guys. Yeah, there's a stud right down there that I'm going to run P-clamps to kind of hold the feed and return lines up. But anyway, we're actually going to run out now. We're going to run to go grab the powder coat to try and show you guys at least that today. You guys will find out the powder coat color today, and make a quick trip to Lowe's or Home Depot again, and then make our way back here. It is already, what time is it? It is 4:30. 4:30 already, boys. Well, let's push on. Let's see what we can get done. Alrighty guys, we are back in the shop. It is actually much later in the night. We have been trying to get some things accomplished. And it has just been a struggle today, I'm not gonna lie. We have been getting our butts handed to us all day. We went and got the powder coat stuff, and we had to go run and get some miscellaneous things, and it's just, the day has just not been flowing for me. And you know, you're gonna have days like that. You just gotta push through them and tell yourself, we are gonna get some stuff accomplished today, whether you want to or not. It might be a later day, whether you like it or not, but you gotta get something done. Got to get something done. So we have got some things accomplished, but I do want to show you guys the powder coat color because I know that's what everybody wants to see anyway. So without further ado, let me know what you guys think. Alrighty, are you ready? Are you ready? There it is. We had to go with gold. You guys know, I think a couple people guessed it. We had to match the Wrenchworks theme. We had to go with gold. So we went with a little bit of a different gold, a little bit more of a brassy gold. I think it turned out sick. I'm so pumped. It looks so good. It looks really, really good in the light. You can kind of see, you know, these are cast pieces. You can kind of see all the bumps in them, but you can kind of see, I'm stoked. I think it looks awesome. I love the color. It is going to look so good. If you guys are saying to yourselves, man, I don't know about that. If you guys could see it in the daylight, you would have your mind blown. This is the color that we had last year. And I actually picked up the color. I'm like, man, that looks kind of close to what it was last year. But when you hold this up against here, yeah, this was definitely orange. This is definitely more gold brass looking. So turbo cover came out awesome. Rocker cover came out super good. It's gonna look awesome. We might have some more plans with the black down the side of the body, so the gold is going to tie in perfect with that. We do have new CalTrack bars on the way because the ones I had were the wrong length last year. They were just a little too long, seeing that we're lowered. So you're going to see a little bit of gold action like that, but it is going to look great, especially against black. Especially against black. But let's get on the creeper. Let me show you what else we have been getting done here. We have been working on getting this transmission cooler mounted. So we got some new brackets made up. You can kind of see, I'll actually pull it down so you can see a little bit better. We bent some pieces of steel, kind of go up like that. We're gonna have to bolt it to this cross member piece against the frame, which is mostly meant for the spare tire, which we're not going to be using, but we'll pull it down. I'll show you guys that. Been trying to get that situated, get that figured out the best I can. We actually got the fittings and the hose in for the air lines in for the airbag, so those are all done. But we are pretty much ready to pull the cooler down, mark some more holes, drill some more holes, and get that situated completely up. The whole reason I kind of bounced to this as opposed to anything in the front, I wanted to try and get the transpan actually on the truck and then fill up the fluid, but I'm like, I can't do that until we get the transcooler mounted. So we just kind of bounced to mounting that up. Here are the brackets that we made up. Really nothing crazy. We just kind of put them on a little bit of an angle. Made the front shorter, that way it's a little bit angled up, so that way when air flows underneath, it's not just flat, it's kind of just trying to pick up every little bit. This is really pretty sturdy. This is 3/16, and I was debating on running another cross piece right here, but after tightening these up, I don't think I'm gonna need to. I really think that might be overkill, and the fact that it kind of sits up in those pieces, so there's only about, I'd say, that much room for airflow to go across it. So by the time that sits up in those little brackets, there's only about that much room for air to go through. And if I put a piece across here, for the strength that I don't think is necessary, I don't want to try and block any airflow, especially towards the front. You have even less room. You only have about that much room, and if I put that piece, that's going to block all of the air that's going to be able to hit through this top of this cooler. So I think I might actually just bolt it, drill some holes up here, and call it good. I think it's going to be plenty sturdy enough by the time it clamps on here. It's not like this thing is hanging down tons, and it's actually bottomed out on a square piece up here, so it's not like it can actually move because it's kind of locked into a square piece up top here too, so it's not like I can rotate out of that. So I think it's actually going to be good now that I think about that. So we are going to clean this up, probably paint this up, get this bolted down, go from there. All right, so we got the brackets all painted up. We're gonna let them dry. What I was going to bounce to was going to be putting our gasket, our reusable rubber gasket, into the lower valve cover, get that all situated. But this one is actually for the bottom of the actual valve cover, not this one. I remember now, and I'm like, just one more thing that I totally forgot about, but I remember when we blew our engine out last year that it actually blew that lower one completely out. So I was like, you know what, we're not gonna reuse that. We'll probably just end up getting another one. So I need to see this on the truck. I wanna see what this looks like. So we're just gonna put this on with no gasket for now and just set that on there. Let me put this down here so it doesn't fall. Alrighty, that is going to look so good. It's gonna look good. I'm pumped. Super pumped. Even though we can't put it on for good, and it just seems like we're slowly getting there. Well, I at least had to get the turbo cover on, so at least we can consider that done. We got the Fleece 468 turbo cover back on. Looking good. Looking good. Alrighty guys, and that is pretty much all that we have for today. It is 10 o'clock now. We definitely hit some road bumps, we hit some snags, but it's part of life. It's inevitable that you're gonna have days like this. You are gonna have days where nothing goes to plan, and you're gonna run around, and you're gonna try and get as much done as you can get done, and that's exactly what you gotta do. Out of all of this, you should take that, you gotta just do what you can and not quit. Don't quit, whatever it is, whether you're working on your truck or whatever. When things get tough, you don't quit. That's it. You figure out a way to improvise, adapt, and get something done. So hopefully that helps some of you guys out there who might be dealing with something. You just got to keep moving ahead. You got to keep pushing, and it will fall into place. You will eventually get to where you want to go, but there's going to be days that are not going to be the smooth, easy days. So anyway guys, that's going to do it. Hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe if you have not already. I will see you guys tomorrow.